Hello everybody and welcome to the the final Grand Prix of Formula Student at Marina, the Grand Prix karting Marina designed by Nitro himself. Today I'm joined finally by Ven. Hello Ven, how are you doing?
Hello! It's nice to be back, and I'm so excited to be back here for the finale here in Abu Dhabi, where there's no pressure for the championship anymore since last time out. Jason Milano won the Formula Student Grand Prix Championship, and he's basically trying to finish off a perfect season in his own books. And I'm super excited to be here at Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi, not one of the favorites for people, but the Formula Student Grand Prix version is definitely one of my favorite circuits due to its design. But yeah, thank you, Ethan, for joining me here today as well.
Yes, now we will quickly jump into the racing, which is already happening in practice between two. I don't know who that driver is, to be honest. Between Jordan Barker and Jason Milano. I'm not sure we'll see them racing on track during the actual race, but it's nice to see some racing already, like Hamilton and Verstappen in the Circuit of the Americas. It's a good track though. I've seen it in
Yeah, for sure. And
I did a lap in the medical car actually, the BMW M1 medical car, and it was good fun. Very different to these cars that the drivers are racing, but smaller track, so the hairpin was quite difficult.
you would assume so. I mean, in a road car, it's quite difficult to take a hairpin. Compared to these things, which actually generate just generate downforce.
So at the moment in practice, with 4 minutes left, we've had 20 minutes, a 20-minute long session. We have 4 minutes and 30 seconds left. Jason Milanov is the fastest, our world champion actually, with a 48.4 lap. Brendan Pierce in second with a 49.4. We don't have Goose today actually. He is in one of the BMWs, which you will notice in the pit lane throughout the stream. That is the spectator cars for this weekend. We have Chris P in P3 actually with a 49.6. We have Lubinov in P4 with a 50.2. Barker in P5 with a 50.6. And Antonio Correa in 6th with a 50.6 as well. 49.46. Second place has been taken by Chris P away from Brendan Pierce. And then, is there anything you have to say about the racing?
I mean, what can I say? It's still free practice. I think Jason is a favorite. What else is there to add? I think Brendan Pierce spans. I'm gonna spam in the chat in a second. What else is there? CP is doing quite well, to be fair, up in second place. Christian Lubinov, this is his chance to get some good points and a decent mid-pack finish in the championship. So, yeah, not much except to say that, but I do notice Antonio Carrera is here, but there is somebody else missing, and I think we know who that is.
That is it Brazilian friend of Rafael Oliveira?
Exactly, Oliveira and Carrera, the dynamic duo of Formula Student. They're not going to be present here today, unfortunately.
No. But we do have a good amount of drivers today. I will check. 16 drivers are set to be here today. At the moment, 11 of them have at least done a lap around the track.
I believe the 16 includes the spectator numbers as well, so take off 3.
The 16 does not include spectator numbers.
Does it not?
No, because they're a separate tab. I checked on Sim Racing GP.
I mean, are there any major people? I guess we're missing Corke. Corke used to be a very dedicated member to Formula Student. He said that he signed up and he's not here. Diego, in traditional fashion, always joining just for qualifying. We've got.
You can see two BMWs. Diego isn't racing, actually, isn't he? No, he is.
I think might be a wheel dysfunction, you would assume. So he'll basically practicing qualifying.
Let's join. I was gonna say let's join Jason Milanov, but he's spun at turn 2. Let's join
Again,
Brendan
by the way.
Pierce on a lap of this track through turn 1.
Brandon and
Very nice. Lifting a little bit into turn 2, wide at turn 3, not being able to take to the escape road. Down to turn 4, tight hairpin. Using most of the steering you'd need to.
this is quite interesting. This is an interesting development. Brandon, I mean, to be fair though, I had a seat for this race, but unfortunately, I was told
So
that I
I'm-
had to commentary. I do really miss driving these things though. I have yet to try out a race with Eugene cars, but hopefully next season for round 1 of Bahrain, they can be A-okay. I'll be able to drive.
I'm gonna have to leave and rejoin in qualifying because this is just way too loud for me to deal with. So,
I'm pretty sure there's a volume slider in game.
is there a volume slider in game? Okay, that'd be
It's an
useful.
app. It's an app.
Oh yeah, see, there it is. It's all too loud. Oh. There, everything's a little bit quieter now. Very nice.
And this is it's time to see his setup. As you can see, he's got headphones, Oculus Virtual audio device.
Oh no, I've been leaked. I have an Oculus. I can't like drag it off screen either.
I just have to click off the app. It's
Uh.
like an app.
No, I'm gonna have to close it. I need to find it now. There it is.
There we go.
Let me
Oh,
reveal
Brenda
all of the
with
apps that I have on my thing.
Brother with a nice crash there.
F2009. Lovely.
Yeah, the F2009. It's so needed in Formula Student.
This as well.
It's actually, that's quite cool.
It does top out at 240 kilometers, which I don't think this car's gonna hit.
To be fair, as long as it's still in the green range. Green means good usually, so
And the car revs above 8,000, so
fun.
it's also a nice little timing thing, but it's not really useful because that's showing my timing, not the driver we're on board with.
Ooh, Brandon with the shortcut.
Interesting
going
line.
into
Ooh, he took the Lewis Hamilton line and then went through the second.
Through the shore layout pit lane. I'm pretty sure that's what the shore layout used to be. I know that they used it in A4 United Arab Emirates.
But after the 20 minutes of practice, of which we watched none of, we have Jason Milanov.
Practice is not that important. We all care
Especially
about the show.
in Formula Student, practice doesn't show that much. But we have Jason Milanov in first by 0.3 of a second, followed by Chris P actually in second, Brendan Pierce in third, Christian Lubinov in P4, Jordan Baker P5, Antonio Correa P6, Michael Hawko P7, Thomas Kane P8, PL in P9, and Nathan Wood in P10.
Nice.
There
good.
we have 11 drivers racing. We have maybe 12. We'll have 12 drivers in qualifying. I'm not sure about the race.
We'll see.
Need to make you louder then. That's a rarity. Properties. Can I boost?
Let me turn on my audio from Discord because it's already at 200. 100, sorry.
Filters. There we are. Add gain. So then try and speak quick just so I can.
And Jason Milanov takes the lead.
There we are. Now you should be redlining very easily on stream.
Yep, I think. Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1,
Yeah,
2, 3.
when you shout, you're redlining, so should be good.
Yeah, hopefully, because I've got a new microphone after all the complaints about my old microphone. I'm cutting out a lot. So. Yeah, I mean, I think that for this qualifying session,
Why is that opening?
Yeah. I mean, the broadcasters from Tunisia are not doing a very good job, are they? Well, from Abu Dhabi
No.
now, I should say. The Abu Dhabi They're probably sabotaging so more people watch the World Cup tomorrow. You never know.
As
They
we are
could be from
watching Mike
Qatar.
Hawko starting a lap through turn 1, 2, and 3, very easy, but all two of them being flat out. Turn 4, the hairpin, very nicely. He's 5 seconds up on his out lap, which was a 1 minute 11, so should be faster, hopefully.
Can I just say one thing though? That I started racing Formula Student when it was like, it was basically, it just started out in 2020. I want to say is when we started out Formula Student. 2021 was the first time we did a full championship, but I'm pretty sure we started out in 2020.
Mm.
No, actually, in 2021. I'm giving it about. I remember I did the race around Spain, and the GPK version of Spain back then was so basic, and now seeing
Oh my,
the
taking a
and
lot
now
of speed.
seeing the fact that and now seeing the fact that you've got such a highly modeled version of this mini
Oh
circuit,
my
just
god,
great.
Jason is not P1.
And that's after his first run.
Yeah. But from what I've heard, they're looking at getting rid of the tires on the apexes of corners.
Ooh, over pushing it from
Because
Jason.
they have the apex on the corner, the tires on the apex of the corner just stop drivers from cutting it or going too wide and gaining an advantage. But I think they're just going to add stricter track limits, and I think sausage curbs is what they're looking at adding instead, just so it isn't as brutal.
I mean, it's if sausage works actually a good solution, to be fair, instead of like these tires, because
Yes.
the car gets so low that it gets beached on the tires, while with the sausage cup you just ride it. The only way it could realistically get stuck if the car again bottoms out on the sausage cup, but it gets like all four tires lift off of the sausage. But if the sausage curbs are not that high, it shouldn't really be a problem. As long as you
As
don't have like Imola style curbs on the circuits, you should be fine. Sausage curves, so like the Villeneuve, I'm pretty sure it's the Villeneuve chicane after Tamburello. So as long as you don't have those types of sausage curbs, I think the car will be fine.
But actually, for speaking of next year and how the track's going to change, the car is actually going to change significantly. We're going back to having the big rear wing instead of the fans because of budget, because the team didn't have the budget to run a second year with fans, but also just because it's a little bit easier. I'm guessing for this it's a little bit easier to handle than this car, which can be quite on edge at times.
Yeah, for sure, and
And I'll
yeah.
quickly. We
I
have.
mean, the fun concept is, something that really caught the imagination of a lot of people in the AC racing community when this car was first released.
Yeah.
And the fact that, the Formula Student Madrid, I'm pretty sure this is the Madrid attempt, is not going to be competing it's not going to be competing for a second year in the competitions. It's quite disappointing, of course, after all the effort that the engineers would have gone
Yeah.
to go to such lengths to create such a unique car, exploiting, going back to the Brabham concept back in 82, or no, it wasn't 82, 1978, I want to say, or 1979. When the
Yeah.
Brabham Fan car was launched, they took inspiration from something older. They just, with the newest generation of cars, they managed to make it great. And
Yes.
of course, this car, when it was first launched, it had the DRS feature.
Yes.
Allowed us CP goes faster than Jason in practice so far. This
Still, no,
Chris,
it's in qualifying. Chris P is faster than Jason Milanov in qualifying at the minute.
I mean, the drivers have what, 3 more runs? 2 more runs?
They probably have 2 to 3 more. Only about 2 runs, and that's if they're not already coming out of pit lane. That is a driver spun there.
That's a black. Black. I think that's the remain. So that explains why he's
Mike
winning.
Hawko is on a lap at the minute, or starting a lap, I'm guessing. As he crosses the line to start a lap into turn 1 very nicely, not using too much of the exit curb, taking turns 2, 3, and 4 almost flat, going to turn 10-4 the hairpin. Calling it 10-4. 10-4 the hairpin very nicely. It's a lot faster now, a lot higher speed through there since last year. Though I've heard that apparently was it Charles Leclerc actually preferred the chicane to the hairpin and triple corner chicane they had here a few years ago, which is interesting actually because it.
I mean, that's his. I assume because he is such a person. I assume because it gained him time over the other drivers. I don't think it's. I mean, to be fair, in my opinion, if you had the chicanes, Hamilton would be world champion, wouldn't he? But let's not go to that rabbit hole.
Diego Rosado slowly out of pit lane, taking his way to the track.
I don't think he'll be able to get a lap in.
We
I
watch
don't think he's getting a lap in, Diego.
on board with Jason Milanov now. Can he be the fastest driver on track or not? We'll have to see.
I mean, you would hope so. I mean, Jason is P1 right now. I don't think Chris P will be able to match him though.
Jason's going slightly faster on the previous lap. We're now riding board with Chris P to see can he beat the lap with the helicopter shot as he comes through under the tunnel.
I mean, look at this. He's 200s. Is it thousands or hundreds? It's 2000s, isn't it?
It's 2000s, yes.
It's ridiculous. Chris P might be a world championship contender next year
if he can adapt to the big rear wing, because that's going to be a difference. I'm not sure if will we have adjustable wings next year, or is it still going to be the aero is going to stay as it is, but the suspension will be adjustable.
I think that's over, Chris. Just,
painful, but we should see a good race.
I mean, I don't think he'll be. I don't think it will.
Ooh, Diego taking a bit too much curb and losing the rear.
Of the car, which
Michael Horko now.
That chicane seems to be a killer.
It seems if you I think especially with the fact this car uses ground effects, when you're jumping up, it sort of you lose any spinning around the final corner. But yeah, with between practice quality, I'll bring up next year's car onto stream quick so you can see it's got the big rear wing on. But yeah, so for this year's car, the amount that it relies on the ground effects may be contributing to the fact that when you hit the curbs and go up, you sort of lose all the aero from that, and then when you bounce down again, you just like, as you're falling, it sort of picks it up again, and then it stalls when you hit the floor.
Yeah, seems like it. But what it matters to me is that we've got a race on our hands to finish off the year. We're ready to go champions, so there is no pressure on the drivers. Drivers can go flat out.
Definitely not the goofiest pit lane I've ever seen in Formula Student Grand Prix.
I mean, if there was a safety car, it would just be the modified version of the Formula Student, wouldn't it?
As we now slide over to the starting grids.
Let's do a grid walk really quickly. A 30-second grid walk. So in P1, you've got Jason Milanov, who is now going to be the reigning world champion heading to this race. In second, you've got Crispy Bacon in P2. You would assume that's his name. That's Christian Lubinov, is it not, in P3? Good on him. In P4, you've got Nathan Wood, I would have guessed.
Jordan Baker in P4, Christian Lubinov in P5. Who's in P6? Antonio Correa, but the lights are going now as we jump to the normal view we're used to seeing.
And the drivers are getting on line. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights.
Oh, Brendan Pierce! Brendan Pierce!
And they're off. Regardless, they're off into turn 1, and Jason's got a comfortable lead. As I'm pretty sure one of the spectators' cars just stuck off with the grid.
I think it was Goose. But yes, Jason's still leading Chris P.
Goose is...
As we don't have Brendan Pierce. Brendan Pierce did not take the start of the race. And something must have happened because... But Baker has spun at the troublesome chicane, but something must have happened at the start because there's a massive gap between the front three and everyone else. Thomas Kane's spinning also at the
I
corner.
assume
Nathan Wood still
chicane.
is
I
struggling.
assume the
Thing is,
chicane.
no,
Yeah.
the gap was there from like from the very beginning. I'm guessing it must have been at the hairpin or through turn 1. Jason Milanov now on the second lap of the race. Nathan Wood spinning through the hotel section, but there is a gap dramatically closing between Diego Rosado and Jordan Baker. Can he overtake him? We'll have to see. Not quite there, but he'll have the slipstream down to the chicane here at the end of a very long straight.
I wouldn't go for an overtake around the chicane. It's too flimsy.
But here we have 3 cars fighting.
Ooh, that was is that 3 wide?
Into the hairpin.
3 wide nearly. Moment.
That was 3 wide going into the braking zone of the hairpin. That spread out a bit. So Nathan Wood lost a bit of track, but now down the inside goes Kane, and he's put over the tires, and he's turned into. But Jason Milano finished the lap setting a 49.8, I think that was 48.9 actually, setting the fastest lap of the race. Nathan Wood chasing down Antonio Correa now for the spot of P7. Every driver will be scoring points in this race actually, because there are only 10 drivers. Heartbreaking to see that Brendan Pierce disconnecting just before the beginning of the race.
I assume it must be a VR issue. Either way, I'm pretty sure he's guaranteed best of the rest
yes.
in the standings for this year, so he shouldn't have to worry about anything of that sort. As Jason, I think he's having a very nice lead as of right now. I don't think there will be anybody catching him.
No, Chris is got a stable pace, but nothing too dramatic speed-wise. So at the moment, the only race we're really seeing on track at the minute is between Jordan Baker and Diego Rosado. Diego, a little bit wider, letting Jordan through, but will he be able to catch him with the slipstream down to turn 5 and 6?
He's probably used to the big wang. So that's why he might not be performing so well. But that chicane is a killer. You know, we saw it call out many drivers. I think if the drivers are going 100%, they have to watch out for that chicane just to get the right bounce for that chicane. Like, it sounds very RNG to say, but you have to get the right bounce through that corner to go fast.
If we look at the progress quick, 3 drivers have gained 3 positions today. Brendan Pierce, sadly, he is racing, but he has lost 8 positions. Having left from pit lane, I'm guessing, after not being here at the beginning of the race. He's 3 laps down, but he might be able to close it
there's
to
a safety car.
our PL driver, who is already a lap down.
Unless there's a safety car, and if he laps himself 3 times. I mean, we've seen stranger things happen. I don't think I ever saw the story on stream of when I was leading at the Austrian Grand Prix, and the server crashed literally right at the end with like 6 laps to go. I was in the lead. I was actually second, not in the lead.
Jason
I was
Milano
second place. That was gonna be my first ever.
The fastest lap.
There's a nice battle right here.
Side by side between Jason Milanov, our race leader, and a laps driver of PL.
I mean the lap driver fancied the scrap, didn't he? But yeah, I was leading an Austria, and then the server crashed with 6 laps to go, I think, and he robbed me off the podium. So stranger things have happened in Formula Student, and you know what they say. In F1, anything can happen, and it usually does. So, in Formula Student, actually, not in F1, and it still applies to Formula 1. But
Adrock's struggling a little bit. It seems spinning.
Brandon is only Brandon is only 1 lap down from guy in P10.
So maybe he could score some points today, even with struggling to start. So is that our Chris P?
Yeah, he's about to overtake him. Is that not him?
No, that is Chris P and P2. Brendan Pierce is just crossing the line now, so about half a lap between them. but still, he could definitely make it. Adirox being somewhat respectful and letting Chris through, even if it is him closing a little bit through the corner. Kane actually having spun at the final corner, has now lost a lap, and to Jason, who set a new fastest lap earlier of a 1:48.4, I think is the fastest lap of the race at the moment.
But
So
remember, that I don't think there are any fights in the championship this race week with all the people that are in it. I mean, what? Like Diego, I guess maybe could jump a few drivers if he does well. He could outscore Christian if he gets 80 plus 80 equals 36. So he needs 15. I think he needs 14 points to outscore Christian Lubinov, which I don't think will be happening since Lubinov is at the podium. And the Christian Lubinov podium, I think would jump him. That would be 50 points, which will put him 50. That will put him at 47 points, which still won't be enough to jump anybody, even with 50 points.
Yeah, so great racing at the minute. We have actually P3 we haven't paid attention to much, because normally we would have Milanov, Goose, and then it'd be P3 would be the fight between Brendan Pierce and Chris P mostly. But this week we don't have that. Actually, we have Christian Lubinov is P3 at the minute after lapping Adirox or Adirox. A driver who third time's the charm. After struggling the pace a little bit with the car, which this isn't the easiest car to drive, I can give him that. But as Nathan Wood making a little bit of a mistake out of turn 1, it seems, is now being chased down by Christian Lubinov. Actually, he's letting him past. Very good of him. Getting a better exit. Oh, is that as Adirox PL, our 10th place driver, who is being chased down. The gap between him and Brendan has definitely closed, but I'm not sure if he will fight Brendan or not, as Brendan is a lap down, as Nathan Wood has spun at the infamous chicane, taking somewhat of a Lewis Hamilton line through there, but he did spin. As we watch the gap between Brendan Pierce and Adirox close, we use the amazing helicopter view, because this area is so built up at this track that you can barely see the cars for most of the lap with this view. As he's let past by Nathan Wood there, the main straight is another great place you can see on this track. Through turn 1, everything's good. 2 and 3. Yep, down to the hairpin turn 4. It seems to be the camera is just above the exit. And so down into the braking zone here. Nice wide berth through there. So we come up to the hotel section now. Lots of camber through there. At the hotel section, which
I
is...
like the camera angles.
I think it'd be fun to see the hotel section with the amount of off-camber that it is. Because it's it's noticeably off-camber. But here it's... I mean, these GPK tracks are a lot flatter than even just previous years. They've updated them to be flatter just because this car can't deal with the bumps as much. Because I think something I noticed was that...
You should be able to take them a little bit better, shouldn't it?
Because what I noticed is that in the 2020 and 2021 car, the at Luffield at Britain, actually, nobody noticed that there were bumps all the way through there. But then when I was practicing with this car, I was barely able to take it, because each time I'd bounce up and I'd just understeer out of the corner, which was a difficult race. But Brendan Pierce is closing. Oh, which front? That's only Antonio Correa, not a front runner, but still a lapping car that Adarox has taken out. It seems it may be just a racing incident, but still it's collision with a back marker, so that may be looked at as... Who is that chasing him? A second lap now from Chris P, as our race leader Jason Milanov has had quite a quiet race, actually. Not too much going on. Yeah, sort of... at the moment, we've got 10 laps to go, but he's looking at a lights to flag finish, so... Great race from Jason. He's going to the hotel section, so let's use these cameras. Ven, have you got anything to say on this race so far? It was a good start to the race, but it's all calmed down a little bit now.
For the race, we've got 9 laps to go now, is it?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I think that as long as, you know, Jason right now just needs to drive his own race wheel, I'm sure he's happy in the cockpit. I mean, he's after all the rating GPK champion, which was his goal for this year. A very reputable title, for sure, because this kind of racing is, you know, it's quite hard for sure. So, yeah.
But ooh, was that his Rosado? Who was that hit him in the back? Adarox hitting Barker in the rear going into turn 4. Like Hawko. Oh my lord. That's Jason Milanov has had a collision with Mike Hawko. Mike Hawko returned to pit lane. Jason Milanov continuing with his race. But that was a huge collision. Both cars being majorly in the air there. Hopefully both drivers are fine. Hawko is in the pit lane. Not exiting yet. There we are. Hawko is exiting pit lane. Wood is spun at the final corner. We have about 3 cars here. None of them... Oh no, Lubidov and Rosado are racing. We'll ride on board with Rosado. Watching his front wing as he chases down P3 for a podium in a car that he designed. But a move that we missed, Brendan Pierce has overtaken our slightly problematic driver, it seems, of Adarox PL. The gaps have opened up quite a bit now on track, and everything is calmed down, so we can talk a little bit more about the cars and the championship, as this is the final race. So for next season, it will be even more of a reason to jump into here. I'm not sure if we'll have the new car by the beginning of next season, but if we don't have the new car, we'll be using the MFTC3, as that is a car sliding through the grass. I'm not sure which driver that is. That is Michael Hawko. But yeah, so on Sim Racing GP, you will be able to join us and be able to race with us, actually. Saturday evenings, same as the streams. Oh, that's 2 cars flying over the curb there. But you'll be able to race with us here at Formula Student Grand Prix by joining when the new season begins in 2023. So with 6 laps of the race to go, the standings are Jason Milanov, Chris P, Christian Lubinev, Diego Rosado, Jordan Baker, and Antonio Correa are your top 6.
To be fair, Diego getting a podium would be very nice. I mean, I want Christian to get it since he's a homie of mine, but after that terrible chicane seeming like from Christian and Diego getting a good exit, I think everything's changed now. As Brendan Pierce up to P9, so 2 points after a pit lane start.
Yeah, just showing his pace and showing that maybe next year he could be a championship contender as well. As Mike Hawko DNF from the race.
I think Chris P, if he keeps the consistency along with Phoenix and Goose and hopefully some other drivers come through and race with us, I think they'll be able to do a stellar job.
It'd be nice to see
Um,
Phoenix racing next year, actually, because we haven't seen him for most of the second half of this season. And that's why he's lost the championship to Jason, just because Jason getting really good finishes and attending races while Phoenix sort of taking a lot of time off near the end. And while he has some very good finishes, he had one disqualification, which I think hindered him quite a lot.
that was the Singapore race. That was mad.
Yeah.
The Singapore race. Oh boy.
That was a while ago now, actually. Was that around 18, 19-ish?
Somewhere around there.
Oh,
I think it should be on our YouTube channel, so.
it might be. I'm very picky and choosy with which races I do and do not upload, so this race will be going up because I'll remember to do it just exporting it straight from Twitch, which is actually useful. Ooh, was Jason into the hairpin? Just gets
Ooh, very good
good
maneuver,
exit,
Diego.
a great move there. Now he's 2/10 ahead, but Lubinov has a slipstream a little bit as he
got a terrible exit.
takes
He
a
didn't carry it up
slightly
speed.
better line through there. Lubinov might have a go into turn 1 or just try and chase him down and overtake him at the chicane in the middle of the lap this time, as we'll have to see. Lubinov about 6 or 7 tenths off of Rosado that lap, as down to the chicane, Lubinov getting a very similar exit and not quite being able to get the slipstream, it seems. So I think that is Diego's podium for now, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, because Lubinov will be there to catch any small mistake he makes, even a small lock-up that could give him the race win or give him the race podium.
I think Christian Lubinov right now needs to pressure him into a mistake. Like, I'm pretty sure Diego forced him into a mistake going to the chicane, where he lost like half a second to him, and I think Christian just needs to pick the better lines. Just watch how he drives to try and follow him, because I think Diego is going faster. I think Christian should try the same thing as well. Like, you see there, he took a lot more inside compared to Diego. I'm not sure if that's faster, but if you go a little bit wide, it might give you more time down the straight. So there's that to watch out for. Of course, somebody was cutting the second chicane there. Not sure who that was. Just emerging out of the Wonderland. But yeah, and I just think the drivers. I think Christian just needs to right now just try and follow him as best as he could, and maybe he'll be within a chance of a victory.
Stay within a second and watch him, especially into the chicane, because if he takes a little bit too much curb and maybe even hits the tyres, that will be an easy overtake for him, as they set almost identical lap times by separating by about 4 thousandths there. So as long as Lubinov can keep the gap consistent, then any mistake that Diego makes, he'll be able to capitalize on.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just there we go, final lap. You know what? Let's watch the final lap of the leader for this whole season. It will be after, because we'll be seeing each other in 4 months' time.
4
Who
months
knows what will
time.
happen in 4 months? Is it gonna be 4 months? December, January, February, March is where we go racing. So.
Good. I'm looking forward to next season, because the car's going to be different. The drivers hopefully will have a new driver lineup like in real life Formula 1. Actually, a fun fact I worked out, because I saw that De Vries and Tsunoda are on the same team. No! Lots of curve they're getting on the tyres. Car flying.
Chris, take advantage of it.
But the 10-second gap, I'm not sure Chris will be able to close that from the one mistake. But
How
Lubinov
much?
actually is very close to the rear of Diego. Let's watch the end of this lap as Jason Milanov
And Jason
wins.
Milanov wins, and he immediately disconnects.
But we watch
In true-
as Lubinov is
in true
very,
fashion.
very close to the rear of Diego here. And so if Diego makes any small mistakes, Lubinov might be able to take the podium at the very end of the lap. Through the final corners of this race. Ooh, making a bit of a slide there and just losing too much time.
That's why.
And Christian losing his
And
chance at a
Diego-
podium. But Diego Rosado, the designer, one of the designers of this car, takes a podium in his own car at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Formula Student Grand Prix. And the final driver to finish this race, Jordan Barker, rather consistent race. I think he qualified sort of P4 or P5, and I think he qualified P4, but Diego had a great race.
Can we check the leaderboard real quick, if possible?
Which leaderboard?
The progression leaderboard, because that will give
us
a good indicator.
Yes, he qualified P4, and Diego just had an amazing race today, making little to no mistakes and collecting a podium in a car that he helped design. So
where does Diego's podium put him in the championship now?
We don't know, but let's just take a lovely view of this track, actually.
Diego will put him ahead of Isaac Nilsson, but not ahead of Lubinov, I don't think.
Because there is...
Have they got Ferrari World there as well? That's amazing.
That's great, and that's the hairpin. As we see all of the boats in the harbour there, everyone watching
a little bit of a fake harbour, but...
Would have been lovely to see sort of an angle from here as the cars... water. Yeah, it would have been lovely to see maybe an angle from here, actually, as the cars came through, but you can't win them all. For next year, maybe I could put some ideas in for camera angles. We'll have to see, but after that, we still have Jason as our world champion for Formula Student Grand Prix. And yes, we look into getting interviews from our top 3 drivers.
Are we gonna try to do interviews?
I mean, we can. Do you want to do interviews?
I mean, it's the last time around, so yeah. Well, let's see if we can get Jason in, perhaps. Maybe we get Christian, we get Diego.
So I will jump to the interview area and then you follow me, okay?
Yep.
As we should have a Chris P in here at some point, and hopefully a Ven. There we are. Hello, Ven. We'll have a Chris P in here.
It's been a while since we last saw each other. Hello.
Yeah, long time no see. How you been?
I mean, that was a good race, though. That was a decent race. I mean, not the most action-packed, but you know, it's a dominant drive from a world champion. A world driver asserts his dominance, and he did that just perfectly, I think, Jason. And as we have the drivers jumping out of the cockpit now and heading into a little podium area. And first off, we're gonna interview Diego, the driver in P3. Diego.
Hello. So nice to see you all.
Yeah, very nice to see you as well. So first podium, I believe, of this year in the final race. Can be clutch, didn't it?
It was really fun race for me. I mean, I had a terrible qualifying. I have to say, I didn't do any practice before today. Well, before the session itself. So my first taste of the car was on qualifying. So I got a pretty poor qualifying. Then at the start, I was caught up in the lap 1 pileup. But yeah, after that, I was just gaining confidence and just slowly building up to the car. And yeah, it was really fun, especially the battle with Christian. Yeah, he made it hard for me. It took me 10 laps to run him down, another 5 or 6 laps to pass him, and then I had to defend all the way to the end. So it's been a hell of a race. I really enjoyed that one.
That's a very good view, but I was one of my questions. You mentioned it. How did you do so well without so little, with basically doing practice in qualifying?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I gotta be honest. Like, I did drive this car and this track in like a few months ago, but I didn't have any recent practice with it. And you know, I just got into qualifying, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna load a setup from Singapore. Hopefully it works. I made a few adjustments after practice based on it. Thankfully, they seem to help. And then, yeah, the race, thankfully for me, was relatively clean, and I was able to just grow confidence, grow speed slowly, and that was helpful. And you know, Abu Dhabi is also a track that I really enjoy, so it made things easier.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's very nice of you. Well, Diego, we love the Spanish, and you represent the Spanish today. How does it
Vamos.
feel to represent your country?
Uh, well, it's it's an honor to represent my country, and nah, that's just kidding. It's fine. It's it's really fun. This event's I just I'm here racing just for the fun of it, and of course getting good results is great, but to me it's even better when you get into really nice battles, and that was the best far and the best bait of today, and the result thankfully today came, and it's gonna get a nice trophy as well. But yeah, for me the best part was just the battling and just the racing, and yeah.
Mm. It was a great race you had there,
Can
and
you tell us a little bit?
I was gonna say great race you had
Oh,
there.
can I go first, Ethan? Because
Yeah, no worries, man.
okay, go first.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was gonna say there was some great racing there. Were there any points in the track that you seemed to struggle with a lot? Because we saw at the hairpin, sort of at the middle of the track, at the end of the big main straight, lots of drivers were taking a bit too much curb and taking the tires and flying there. Were there any other parts of the
Yeah.
track you found a struggle, or was that the only sort of main one?
Yeah, so if you go back to the first laps, I don't know if you will notice, but I mainly struggled on 2 points, and that was the chicane at the end of the straight. I couldn't get the braking point right, and I was just over getting it, like I was just going too deep into the braking zone all the time.
Mm.
And then I also struggled a lot in the first few laps on uh, on the right hander after on the Marina section. So like right before the bridge, the big braking zone you gotta do.
No, okay.
That one I was just garbage on that one. So it took me I would say 8-10 laps to get those two right. And once I did it, like things started to click, and I was able to extract the pace that allowed me to catch up to the drivers ahead. But yeah.
Yeah, congratulations on the podium. And Ven
Yeah.
wanted to say something quickly now.
Well, I was gonna ask you, what does the future hold for Formula Zero Grand Prix for 2023?
Um, well, I'm really excited about the future. Not only about the series itself, of course, like, I just gotta say, the series is continuing in 2023. Um, well, excuse me one moment, I have to.
Whoop.
Oh,
Oh no.
was that a Spanish internet moment?
But we were. I guess we
I
could
think
quickly
that
go
might be
to quickly go to Chris P until if Diego joins back. But Chris,
Chris,
how
can you
was that
hear
race for
us?
you?
It was
Uh,
really lonely. Qualifying was really fun. It was really close with Jason. Like two or five thousandths of a second between the two of us. But Diego's back, so I'll hand this back over to him in just a second. But big thank you to him for making the car both virtually and really, and setting this whole thing up. First race in Suzuka for me was a ton of fun, and then Coda was so close to a podium, but it wasn't meant to be. First win in Mexico, and now P2 in Abu Dhabi. I'm really excited for next year. And congratulations to Jason for the championship win.
Yeah. Yeah, continue the interview if you still have things to say. Don't worry.
well, probably thanks, Diego. We know that was the Spanish internet moment.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry for that. I had to briefly go to answer other questions here back at home. Yeah. So
Well, just
regarding
what does the future hold for?
yeah. So yeah. So first of all, obviously the FSGP series is gonna continue. Um, we are looking at ways to improve the tracks. We're looking at things that we can do regarding the tracks. We are looking at possibly removing those pesky tires and maybe build some sort of curve which is not as deadly. We're looking at different things regarding the tracks and how to make them a bit easier and more raceable. Not easier to drive, but just more forgiving. I think that's the word that I'm looking for. And yeah, and regarding the community, we are hopefully gonna have a new car racing next year, the MFTO2, which is gonna be a big change again from fans back to wings. It should make racing better, the slipstream more powerful, and yeah, I mean we are looking at also at ways to possibly make a split. So we will create a pro split and an open split. So in the open split, anyone out there, you watching at home, can join that race on Fridays, and then on Saturday enjoy the action from the FSGP race. So we're looking at different things, and then of course we're looking at expanding what the community offers. So we're looking at creating other championships, other races, and not just Formula Student stuff. So hopefully that's something exciting and that keeps things fresh. But yeah, the FSGP series is gonna be strong in 2023.
Well, thank you, Diego, for the interview. One more thing. Drive the day without saying yourself.
Um, I'm gonna go for. I mean, I guess it's the obvious Jason. Like he just got pole, but then he just on the race he just flew everywhere else. I'm gonna choose Jason not only for this race, but just for the insane season he's pulled off, because the way he's just dominated some of these races, it's insane, and yeah, it takes a lot of effort and time and talent to make the car handle as well as he's done it, and to drive them as well as he does. So yeah, I'm gonna choose him because today was just another example of what he's been able to do in the second half of the season.
Well, thank you, Diego, for that.
Yeah.
Been a
Thank you to
pleasure.
you. What a great commentary team we have. Lovely. So thank you for the streams. Thank you for for making the streams possible. For putting a voice and to these races, and it just makes it so enjoyable to watch the race back with all your excitement and your views. And yeah, just thank you for that, because all season it's been amazing. So yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, I'm gonna leave you with Chris.
Well, Chris, back to you now. How do you manage to somehow manage to catch the Jason's pace in qualifying? You need.
Ooh.
Chris, have you got connection? Hello? Testing,
Yeah,
testing.
I do. I think you lost it.
Bulgarian internet moment.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I was asking, how do you manage to nearly beat Jason in qualifying? The man has been unstoppable in qualifying, and you managed to beat him somehow.
It's really, really difficult. I left so little on the table. I think there was maybe like half a tenth maximum up for grabs around the whole lap. But Jason is incredibly fast, especially for someone who's used keyboard mouse. I don't know, just a lot of I practice on race fuel, so doing qualifying with only 1 liter instead of 7 liters with all that weight taken off, it's like taking training weights off.
Yes, Chris.
Well-
So, congratulations on the second place. Do you think you'll be able to do anything as amazing as you have the last couple of races this season? Do you think you could fight for the championship win, maybe?
It depends on my university workload, really, because it all depends on the amount of time I have to practice.
Yes. So, congratulations on second place. And without saying yourself, who would you say is your driver of the day?
I'd have to say Diego. I haven't seen any of it, obviously, because I was driving, but I saw in the relative him and Christian were swapping places like a bunch, and so seeing them get closer and further together I'd say I'd have to say it was Diego because of his attacking and defending.
So yes, congratulations on the podium. We don't have Jason in here, so I think I'll just wrap up stream here. Thank you to Ven for joining me for the entire race. Thank you, Chris and to Diego for joining me and Ven in the booth. I've
Thank
been
you.
Ethan Mills. This has been Ven streaming along, commentating alongside me, and that will be the end of the stream. Ven, have you got anything to say quickly?
Yep. Well, see you guys in 4 months.
Goodbye.